Good evening. I'm going to call the July 12th, 2022 Finance meeting to order. Jessica Brennan is present. John De La Rada, Bill McPartlin, Jason Moskowitz, Elena Finnan, Elizabeth Greenwood, Janet Wynn, Matt Yetto, Diane Percy, Chief Koshin, Eric Hamburger. All right. May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the June 14th, 2022 Finance meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any changes to those meeting minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. Moving on to items for action.
Okay, the first thing is a discussion for certain budgetary modifications. You'll see that attached to your packet. There's not a lot that needs moved this month. There may be a bit more by the end of the month, but so far it's in pretty good shape. We have, the second item is authorization to purchase the Windows Server user licenses. You'll see that back up attached. We just need Finance Committee for that. The next one is a resolution establishing a standard workday for elected and appointed officials. You're going to see this on for a couple months in a row as we work through everybody in the town, as some of them have different months. So as we get people's information in, we'll just keep adding them on, and you'll see this repeating itself as we go through. Okay, a resolution regarding based proportion and adjusted base proportions from Eric that he submitted. A resolution regarding the Racial Equity Task Force, tentatively from the supervisor. Did you want to speak to that?
Yes, I will go ahead and speak to items F and G. They can kind of go together. There'll be a resolution to accept a $4,000 grant from the Niskayuna Community Foundation to make improvements to the Niskayuna Dog Park. Thank you to Lori Peretti for submitting that grant proposal. And then there will also be a resolution authorizing an expenditure of fund balance to pay for tennis courts improvements at the Avon Crest Park and in part towards improvements at the Niskayuna Dog Park. The funds for these improvements will initially come from the fund balance with the anticipation that the funds will be reimbursed once grant monies are received. And these grant funds were made possible through Assembly Member Phil Steck's office. A little bit more context, the Avon Crest tennis courts, we've been discussing their disrepair for several months in the Public Works Committee. They're over 5 decades old. They have been examined by a structural engineer who determined that the courts are in need of absolute full replacement and can no longer be used due to safety concerns. So at this time, the courts are the nets are removed, the courts have been locked. So we've received a quote of approximately $200,000 for replacement of those tennis courts. And that's well within the grant funds that were awarded by Phil Steck's office. Yeah,
I'm
question? Mhm.
How much was the cost to repair and replace?
Yeah, the cost to completely repair the tennis courts, completely like redo them, is $200,000.
Yeah, right. It's not, you try to go out and get as many bids on that, but that's even difficult to do because there are not many companies that do that sort of work. But he does feel confident that the price that we're getting is a fair price.
Also, as part of that grant, part of those funds from Assembly Member Steck will be used to help fund the improvements to the Niskayuna Dog Park. We anticipate the cost for that improvement to make the small dog park, which would entail new fencing and gates, will be approximately $12,000, $4,000 of which will be coming from the grant, which was recently awarded by the Niskayuna Community Foundation. And the other remaining portion will come from the grants through Assembly Member Steck's office. Thank you.
Okay, We have referred from Public Works, authorization to purchase the actuator shafts. And that actually can be done at Finance Committee as well. Moving down from Economic Development, authorization for payment of the Sims bill. That is also attached, as was the actuator shaft information in there. Added from the floor, this did not make it quite in time to be on the posted agenda that went up online, so you'll see it at the bottom of the sheet. Unfortunately, we need to purchase a new 40-yard roll-off dumpster. The old one has been repaired multiple times and rewelded and is unfortunately beyond repair at this point. So we need to get that sorted out. And the final thing was authorization to purchase some IT equipment and support. We finally got the information on that this afternoon, and Seth is going to speak to that briefly, because after I had even printed this out, we got yet another piece of information with a better price than we had already, which he's passing out to you now.
Thank you.
So we actually, instead of saving $529, now we're saving significantly more, and Seth will
Just
speak to
about,
that.
I think $2,500 if we're going to purchase it this month versus next month or the month after. I was planning on purchasing this anyway to replace the router that was put in when the previous internet provider was put in, which is over 5 years ago. So we're due for a replacement. Plus the old one we have will not give us the full speed. So I was planning on purchasing this anyway, and Cisco's end of year fiscal year is coming up, and they're trying to get as many sales in as possible. So we're going to benefit by that. Instead of, $5,000, it's going to be $3,100. Oops, sorry. We have a call at my firehouse. $3,112.94, which is the revised quote that I just handed everybody. We don't, since it's between 3,000 and 5,000, Finance Committee can approve it. We don't have to go through a full board resolution for it. So.
And did you have this in your budget for replacement?
Yes,
Equipment.
and I had it as there was a quote from Rhino Networks, which was the cheapest quote I was able to find previous to, and I've been waiting on it, like I said, because didn't need it yet, and the license starts to, because you purchase a license with it, so that license starts to lose months.
Yep.
We can afford to lose 1 month to save $2,000. That's the way I look at it. So, yeah.
Great.
Any other questions?
No, thank you, Seth,
Thank
for working
you.
so hard and diligently to get those additional quotes. Appreciate it.
And that's all we have.
Okay, so that appears to be all we have for the meeting, the finance meeting tonight. At this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We stand adjourned.